9/11 was an occult, satanic, Freemasonic ritual. You might think, what he's talking about? Well, let me explain. Numbers are very important to the occult, so also in 9/11. First, let's take the 11. The 11 constitutes of two ones. This is a symbol of duality, the ones standing separate from each other. Duality is for the occult the symbol of God's creation. Everything in God's creation can, according to the occultist, be reduced into two genders, black and white, good and evil, above and below, life and death, cold and heat, love and hate, and so on. This is why you see black and white in the Freemasonic temple, and the duality principle is also symbolized in the two pillars of Freemasonry, named Joachim and Boaz. Freemasonry is of course a continuation of the Catholic Knights Order of the Temple of Solomon, short, Knights Templars. After Jerusalem was conquered in the Crusades, they were given headquarters at the place where Solomon's temple used to be. Therefore the name. Because of their involvement in Satanism, the Knights Templars were abolished and persecuted. Many of them were killed, but many others went underground and formed Freemasonry. That's why the youth department of Freemasons is called the Moulet, in honor of the last Grand Master of the Knights Templars named Jacques de Moulet. That's also why most rituals in Freemasonry involve Solomon or the Temple of Solomon. The pillars in the Freemasonic temple also represent the pillars that stood at the entrance of Solomon's temple. According to Freemasonry, Hiram of Tyre made these for King Solomon. In Ecclesiastes 28, verse 14 to 19, the king of Tyre is spoken of as Lucifer, and God spoke, "Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more." So the pillars of Freemasonry were a gift from Lucifer to the corrupted King Solomon, and the source of the pillars was described in the Bible as a terror. Now we also see this back in New York. We see the gigantic 11 in the form of the two World Trade Center buildings situated before Building 7. So the two giant pillars of Freemasonry before a building called Solomon's Building. As much as duality is a given factor in creation for Satanists, God's creation is not what they want. They feel like they are captive in this dual creation of an evil God, and feel they have to destroy the dual nature of this world in order to free themselves. Therefore, we now also see their fight against the two genders that were created by God. In Freemasonry, the ending of duality is symbolized by the capstone bringing the two pillars together to one. During the 9/11 ritual, duality was taken care of in a more rude manner, blowing up the towers. The two towers were then replaced by a single tower, called One World Trade, which is the same above as below, 1776 feet tall. 1776 was the year the Illuminati were founded, as well as the United States. A truly Masonic piece of art. The most revered person in Satanism, Aleister Crowley, describes 11 as the number of magic itself, and therefore suitable to all types of operations, as well as the sacred number par excellence of the Aeon of Horus. My number is 11, and all their numbers who are of us. The first plane that was supposed to have struck the World Trade Center was American Airlines 11. The number 9. The number 9 is also of major significance in Satanism. The Church of Satan has 9 satanic statements and 9 satanic sins. The ninth of the satanic sins is lack of aesthetics. During 9/11, everything was put in place to create a true work of satanic art. The reason why number 9 is so relevant in Satanism is because the number 9 always comes back to itself when multiplied with another number. For example, 9 multiplied by 8 makes 72. 7 plus 2 makes 9. This works for every number. That's why it's the number of ego, and Satanists always put self-development above. Also, 6 plus 6 plus 6 makes 18, and 1 plus 8 makes 9. Because of its stability, Crowley describes 9 as most evil number of witchcraft. So 9 is the number of evil, and 11 of magic. Together they make evil magic. As a side note, the Rockefellers changed the emergency code to 9/11 in the 60s, when they took control of AT&T. Of course, Trident. When we look at the architecture of the two twin towers, we see that they constitute of iron pillars that were shaped in a trident. Now we know that the weapon of Satan is a trident. Also, the trident is a symbol of fire. After the towers were destroyed in extreme heat, the remains were taken to a place called Fresh Kills Landfill on Staten Island. In the memorial of 9/11, the Satanists commemorate the 9/11 success by again showing off their satanic trident weapon. Building 7. The Solomon's building is built in the form of a trapezoid and measured 47 stories. The 47 stories building refers to the 47th problem of Euclid, also known as the Pythagorean theorem. Pythagoras is seen by Freemasonry as one of their heroes. Leader of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey, founded the Order of Trapezoid, which became the governing body within the Church of Satan. Sirius. 9/11 falls on the first day of the Coptic calendar. This calendar is derived from the ancient Egyptian calendar. The first day of the Egyptian New Year started with the heliacal rising of the star Sirius. Sirius was extremely important to the Egyptians, as well as the Masons and Aleister Crowley. 32-degree Mason Albert Pike writes in Morals and Dogma, Sirius is therefore the sacred place all Masons must ascend to. It is the source of divine power and the destination of divine individuals. Sirius was called Argentium Astrum by Masons. Crowley started his satanic order called AA in 1946. A fellow initiate to the AA wrote, "The silver star is Sirius, the key to the present aeon of Horus, for it represents the energy of Satan that will permeate the earth during the present cycle." His Egyptian New Year is the first day in the Egyptian month of Thoth. Thoth was the Egyptian god of magic and time. Sirius aligns with the sun on the 4th of July, which is the American Day of Independence. In modern times, the precession caused the heliacal rising of Sirius to shift 45 days to August 5th. This is the day that the World Trade Center, as well as the statue of Lucifer, Liberty, was officially initiated. Sirius is also called the Dog Star. A 4.5-year-old Labrador police dog called Sirius is said to have died on 9/11. His code name was K9. K is the 11th letter of the alphabet. So another 9/11. Sirius was a big story in the US media, and the dog was honored with a park and a children's book. Pet goat. When 9/11 happened, we saw President Bush at an elementary school in Sarasota, Florida, as he kept listening to the children's story of the pet goat. Now we know that Satanists worship the goat, named Baphomet, so the goat is also popular with Masons. According to Manly P. Hall, the goat symbolism relates to the pre-Christian god Pan, also called Dionysius. Pan is represented as half human, half goat with horns. Probably Baphomet is derived from Pan. According to Crowley, this serpent, Satan, is not the enemy of man, but he who made gods of our race, knowing good and evil. He bade, know thyself, and taught initiation. He is the devil of the Book of Thoth, and his emblem is the Baphomet. Actually, the pet goat story is a satanic allegory, in which the goat rises up against the authoritative father. The goat's aggressive and destructive behavior seems problematic, but in the end he saves the day, like Lucifer standing up against God and saving humanity. We can see this satanic allegory storyline repeated in many Hollywood productions, like Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and Lego the Movie. The school children also were to read the words plain, must, hit, steal. By the way,
yes, hit. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. What word? Steal. Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Hit. Yes, hit. Get ready. Steal. Yes, steal. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must.
Flight 93. The number 93 is also of high significance in Crowley's Satanism. Crowley wrote in Liber All, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love on the will. Will and love in Greek to telema and agape." If you add the Greek numerical value of these words, you get 93. Now that's why the Satanists also call themselves Thelemites, and why they greet each other with 93 in opening and closing written correspondence. 93 is short for rephrasing Crowley's law. In his book Confessions, Crowley writes, 93 is also the number of the secret word of the neophyte of AA, a word indicating symbolically the whole course of existence. Flight 93 crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The FBI investigation was led by Field Director Bill Crowley. What's in the name? To shank someone also means to kill someone, so Shanksville is also a remarkable name. Flight 77. Number 77 is not surprisingly also significant in Satanism. Anton LaVey lists the 77 infernal names of the gods called upon, which make up a large part of the occupancy of the royal palace of hell. Aleister Crowley wrote a series of books called Liber, and significant numbers in Satanism were given a book. Book 77 is about the right of man to do what he wants. Liber 77 was originally titled The Book of the Goat. In Aleister Crowley's Book of Lies, he wrote, "The sublime and supreme septenary in its mature magical manifestation through matter. 7. The septenary. This refers to the theosophical 7 principles of man. 11. The magical number, and 77. The manifestation of the septenary." Flight 77 was supposed to have hit the Pentagon. The Pentagon is the inner core of the well-known emblem of Satanists, the pentagram. Under the Freedom of Information Act, we were informed about the flight number of the Doomsday plane that was circling above Washington DC during 9/11. This plane was to keep the government running in case of a nuclear attack. Its name was Venus 77. Another name for Venus is Lucifer. Flight 175. Of course, number 175 is another significant number in Satanism. It's a 7 multitude of 7 sevens, namely 77 plus 77 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 makes 175. We can see how Satanists use this in this pentagram. Aleister Crowley named a book after 175, called Liber 175. In it he wrote, "This is a book of uniting to a particular deity by devotion. Concerning the ceremonies, prepare a powerful invocation of the particular deity." I guess 9/11 was a pretty powerful invocation. Samson and Hulk Hogan.
Alright, thank you, Vince McMahon. Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, the lovely Elizabeth. 3 people working as one with one goal in mind: to defeat feet. Or should I say demolish the Twin Towers? Hulk Hogan, you talked about the Triangle of Love. Jesse Ventura says there's a problem. Explain.
Well, you know, Mean Gene, you get right to the heart of the matter with that question, brother. It's the love, man, that's gonna supercharge the mega powers and tear down the Twin Towers.
Hulk Hogan said this in the 80s and went on to form a Western group called the New World Order. Now after 9/11, we find these images in the Opie and Anthony show. Clearly, Hulk Hogan succeeded in knocking down the towers. This Hulk Hogan story is a satanic mockery of the Samson story out of the Bible. Samson was given strength by God to knock over 2 pillars of the temple, killing 3,000 of God's enemies. Here we see Hulk Hogan doing the same, killing 3,000 by the power of Satan. This is a symbolic satanic mockery to show that Satan is just as powerful as God. To complete the mockery, they tell us that the images came from a Christian website.
And this is on their Facebook page. They're a Christian music section. That's hilarious. I'm having a hard time breathing.
Hulk is there, but also the Hulkster is peeking around the corner of the building, looking very angry.
And very angry and confused, like, why would you run away from this? I did this for you.
So 9/11 was a dark, satanic, Freemasonic ritual, and they show it in our face. Most of the content of the video is taken from S.K. Bain's most dangerous book in the world, 9/11 as Mass Ritual, and the video Dualism, the Illuminati Religion, which I recommend to everyone. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to watch my movie 9/11 Answers on this channel, in case you haven't watched it yet.